Good afternoon, thank you for joining me. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines. KAMBWILI denies proposing the postponement of 2021 general elections. NKANDU claims 1 million export deal of goat to Saudi Arabia has been affected by COVID-19. Join me with the details after this commercial.
2021 is finally here. Zambia is at the crossroads heading towards general elections this August. In the world where fake news, biased reporting on national issues has become the order of the day, in a world where social media in most cases spills lies and exaggerated information, insightful coverage, Zambia needs one media. Living in a country where people are slowly promoting tribalism, hatred, bitterness and revenge, political temperature is heating up and people's hearts are perplexed. Zambia needs one media. Zambia being a Christian nation living under the lordship of Jesus Christ, the nation cannot afford a compromised gospel. Zambia needs a prophetic media house. For hope, peace and unity, Zambia needs Camnet television for non-biased, factual reporting, balanced opinion, accurate news coverage. Zambia needs Camnet television for national projects and development of our beloved country Zambia. Watch Camnet TV on channel 274 DSTV, channel 98 on GoTV, and channel 106 on Topstar. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.
And other media news in detail. The Water Resources Management Authority WAMA has warned of possible flooding in Kasempa district due to increased rainfall activities in the area. WAMA Public Relations Officer Joshua Kapila says the flooding are expected along the Luvungu and Lunga River from the 27th to the 31st of January 2021 at 20-year record high. Mr. Kapila has also told Camnet News that there is a high probability of a 10-year return of floods in Mumba district at the Hook Bridge and the areas downstream of it is Jeje Dam and Kasaka Hydrometric Station and the Kafue River. He says this is projected to occur around the 7th to 9th February 2021. Mr. Kapila has since advised the public and concerned stakeholders in the affected areas to take all the necessary precautionary measures and urgently prepare for the projected floods events to avoid loss of life and property.
WAMA wishes to alert the public and its stakeholders that there is a high likelihood of a 20-year return flood in Kasempa district along the Luvungu and Lunga rivers from the 27th to the 31st of January 2021, which will cause flooding in areas along the river banks. According to our forecast, there is a high probability also of a 10-year return flood around Mumba at the Hook Bridge and in areas downstream of the Jeje Dam, which is in Namwala, and Kasaka Hydrometric Station on the Kafue River, which is predicted also to be around the 7th and the 9th of February 2021. Based on the analysis of our hydrological data, the authority has of late observed increased river flows due to increased rainfall in the above-mentioned areas, with flooding expected to be severe in the same areas and in regions around Kasempa and Kalionga, respectively. In view of the above, the authority wishes to advise the public in the affected areas and concerned stakeholders to take all necessary precautionary measures and urgently prepare for the projected floods events to avoid loss of life and property.
In other news, the Foundation for Democratic Process FODEP has reminded the Electoral Commission of Zambia to call for an indaba to discuss pertinent issues in the electoral process. FODEP Executive Director George Chimembe has joined other stakeholders who are calling on the ECZ to give a direction on how political parties will conduct campaigns amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Chimembe is concerned that amid the COVID-19, the governing Patriotic Front has been campaigning in the pretext of mobilizing the party. He, however, notes with concern that opposition political parties are being prevented from holding political gatherings owing to the COVID-19 COVID-19 while the PF continues to do so. Mr. Chimembe says the ECZ must quickly formulate guidelines before the campaigns begin to ensure a level playing field.
Time is fast approaching for the country to host the general elections on the 12th of August 2021 as enshrined in the national constitution. Elections provide an opportunity to advance democratization and encourage political liberalization. For an election to be free and fair, certain civil liberties such as the freedom of speech, association and assembly are required. It is against this background that the Foundation for Democratic Process, FODEP, has reminded the Electoral Commission of Zambia to call for an endeavor to discuss pertinent issues in the electoral process. FODEP Executive Director George Chimembe says the ECZ must give direction on how political parties will conduct campaigns amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have seen in the past that the PF has found it very easy to go by, carrying out their activities without any adherence to COVID guidelines. But when it comes to the opposition, they are stopped by the police. COVID is cited. So this is where we've been calling for an endeavor to be organized by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, so that some of these contentious issues can be agreed upon and the way forward mooted together. In terms of the anticipated lockdown, we hope that there will be no lockdown. We hope that the COVID cases will be managed.
And Mr. Chimembe has urged ECZ to be consultative.
Public are clients, civil society, all of us are clients, and we have a stake in the management of elections, because ECZ is not doing it for themselves, they are doing it for the public. And so we appeal to them that they should, consider, consulting widely on some of these important decisions that they are taking. For those that are calling for, elections to be postponed, I think that is misplaced, because we saw that in the USA, where the COVID figures are very high, they are alarming. They went ahead.
He has also recommended that electoral observers come earlier before the polls so that they can go through the 14 days mandatory quarantine period.
As a country, what we can say about the international observers is that they don't come to interfere with our elections, or they don't come to steal our elections. They just come to observe and make recommendations, which an electoral management body like the ECZ can take on board if they want, And what we can recommend is simply that these observer missions come in much earlier, so that they quarantine, they go for the mandatory 14 days or 2 weeks quarantine, and they are tested for COVID. And during their stay in Zambia, they adhere to the guidelines from the Ministry of Health.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, National Democratic Congress NDC President Chishimba Kambwili has denied ever giving an interview to any media institution in Zambia, endorsing the idea of not holding the 2021 general elections due to COVID-19. Mr. Kambwili explains that there is no such time when he made such a proposal.
National Democratic Congress leader Dr. Chishimba Kambwili has refuted to the allegations circulating on social media that he said the 2021 general elections should be postponed due to the increased number of COVID-19 cases the country is currently recording.
If COVID will be at its highest peak, then we all have to meet as stakeholders and think outside the box. I never ever insinuated or said that the elections must not be held. How can I say that elections must be postponed? Because that is a constitutional provision. There is nobody, unless the constitution is changed, who can stop the elections on the 12th of August, unless Parliament convenes and change the provision in there. Who am I to go for, deferring the elections? All I was saying, in short, elections must be held and there must be public meetings.
The opposition leader disclosed that his comment on the statement issued by the Electoral Commission of Zambia stating that political parties must find ways of campaigning without holding public rallies was that an election cannot be held without public meetings, as it was the only method of communicating, which is contrary to the information that is circulating on social media.
How will the people in the opposition interact and speak to the people of Zambia to tell them their manifesto, how they want to do things if there will be no public meetings? And my emphasis was that anything being held without public meetings is not an election. And I gave examples to say that in America, COVID was at highest peak, but the public meetings were going on.
The NDC leader has since appealed to citizens not to allow the elections to take place without public meetings.
There should be no elections without public rallies, public meetings, but the elections must be held on the 12th of August 2021. Just like the Americans held their meetings, held their elections on the day defined by the Constitution. I'm not a person who speaks and starts thinking. I think before I speak. That is KAMBWILI for you. Please understand that I'm a politician from the Maikosata School of Politics and Strategic Thinking. And I am so critical on issues. And when handling national issues, nobody, and I mean nobody, can compromise me.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, Minister of Fisheries and Livestock Professor NKANDU, who is also Manale Constituency Member of Parliament, has attributed the delays in the exportation of goats to Saudi Arabia due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Speaking to the media in Lusaka Wednesday, Professor Luo explains that while the country was preparing to start the export after meeting all requirements by Saudi Arabia, the COVID-19 pandemic came in, putting everything on hold. The minister announced that one of the demands given was that government should export already slaughtered goats with strict adherence to their laws, which government met. For now, Professor Luo says government is waiting for COVID cases to reduce so that the program can start, adding that Zambia has enough goat stock awaiting export. Close to 3 years ago, government sourced for readily available market for the goat export to Saudi Arabia, among other countries, but up to now, nothing has materialized.
It's a process that we needed to go through, and I've explained this before. One of them was the fact that they wanted the goats as carcasses, and they wanted them killed halal. So we had to go around to see which abattoirs have the capacity to do halal type of meat. We had zeroed on to 2. The other thing we did is that we partnered with Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe to sustain the 1 million goats per month. And just when we were about to start, COVID came. So the first wave of COVID. And just when we were about to start, the second wave of COVID came. So really what is delaying us is COVID. And we are hoping that the Minister of Health and his team are going to work around the clock and just reduce the current wave so that we can hit the ground running. We in fact have enough goats in the country. because through our restocking and stocking, we have distributed to a lot of provinces in Zambia and lots of communities. So we think we have enough goats to be able to export. In fact, I think at the time we were starting, we didn't even have as many goats.
Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Midday News, but before we go, the headlines once again. KAMBWILI denies proposing the postponement of the 2021 general elections. NKANDU claims 1 million export deal of goods to Saudi Arabia has been affected by COVID-19. Well, that is all. I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. Remember to always wear your mask, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer and avoid crowded places. Stay safe. Good afternoon.